I was originally going to show me opening this box, but it has my address all over it, and I'm not about to dox myself. But all I can say is this actually shipped from Alberta. It was the only place I could find in Canada that had what I was looking for in stock. So, they gave me this nice bag. I could always use another camera bag, right? But here's what I've really been looking at. That's right. The Nikon Z8. You can see my hands, right? Okay, you can see my hands. So, about a year ago, a family friend from Hong Kong left his Nikon Z9 here. The Nikon Z9 is Nikon's latest flagship mirrorless camera. And up to that point, I've never actually used a mirrorless camera before. And so he left it here for a year, mostly for me to take care of it, but he did encourage me to take it out for a spin. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, there's some things that I didn't really like about it, like the fact that it's just huge. But other than that, I pretty much converted to mirrorless. Because I do a lot of sports and wildlife, and those are the genres that mirrorless cameras tend to excel at. My Nikon D850, which I bought about 2 years ago, is still around and kicking. I have no plans on selling that camera. It's still an amazing camera. I still love it to pieces. I would never give it up anytime soon. But after just touching that Nikon Z9 and using it for quite a lot, actually, mostly wildlife, but also some baseball tournaments and stuff, I just fell in love with it, and so I started saving up to buy myself a mirrorless camera. Now, I didn't go for the Nikon Z9 because it's just too big, too bulky, and it's also more expensive. So when the Nikon Z8 was announced last year, I thought this looks perfect because Nikon actually sort of marketed it as the successor to the Nikon D850. So not really a successor, but spiritual successor. It's a mirrorless camera. But anyways, let's take this out. Once I get all this packing paper out. She's not actually very heavy. Professional cameras don't ship with a lens. They expect you to have lenses already. So if you're a new photographer and you just buy a professional camera thinking, oh, I'm just going to start taking pictures today, you're probably going to be disappointed because you probably don't have a lens. And you need a lens to shoot. Now, the thing you need to know about Nikon is Nikon does not seal their boxes at all. So you have to check the manual. Oh my god. 2 free sensor cleanings from McBain's, which is the camera store that I bought it, but since they're based in Alberta, it makes absolutely no sense for me to send cameras over just to have the sensors cleaned. Nikon warranty. I actually bought this brand new, so no gray market stuff this time. Printed user's manual, which you actually do need to look at. They do have a digital version, which is what I just download onto my phone, but the reason why you need to look at the manual for a Nikon product is, again, Nikon does not seal their boxes, so you don't know who opened this box during shipping. So that's why you have to open the manual and look at the package contents to make sure everything in here is actually included. Don't forget, register your Nikon Z8. Who does this? So it's like, is there anybody out here that actually registers their product? Like, if you do register your product, I'd really like to know. Okay. I'm just gonna go for the body first. Should we unbundle this slowly? Oh man, look at that. Oh, the screen protector is... came off a bit in transit, but otherwise, yeah, it's fine. Screen's undamaged. This is it. Nikon Z8. It's actually really light. I mean, there's no lens and no battery in it, but it's actually pretty light, pretty small. Okay, camera body, check, and it came with the hot shoe cap, so that's also a check. And also the eye cup, press and release to twist it all, yep. So these two are in, the body cap is on. I can't read this. So all of these are present. So MH25A charger charges the EN-EL15 batteries, which I already have plenty of, and I actually already have this exact charger, so this is nice. I'll just keep it as a backup. This is the USB and HDMI cable clip. I don't actually use these, but I will keep them around. A USB-C to USB-A cable, an EN-EL15C battery, which the Z8 uses, and also my D850, and also many other Nikon cameras also accept. Nikon has sort of settled on this one for most of their cameras, so that's nice. A camera strap, which I will not use because I already have a strap from Peak Design that is way more comfortable. And that's it. Is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. Alright. My knees hurt. I've been crouching on my knees this whole time. So welcome to my desk. I'm just gonna get this keyboard out of the way. I actually recorded this part yesterday where I was basically just gonna look at the camera and all that stuff, but I didn't like how any of that turned out, and it was pretty lame anyways. So I'm filming this the day after I recorded the initial unboxing, just because I had a bit of time to actually use the camera and actually have some thoughts to share about it. So the first rodeo I took this camera out for was some bird photography around my neighborhood. And one thing that really struck me is just how small this camera is. Like, it's incredibly small. To compare a little bit, here is a camera that I don't really use all that much anymore. It's my Nikon D7100. It's actually a crop sensor camera, so the image sensor is smaller than that of a full frame camera. And if you just look at the sizes between those two, it's very striking just how similar they are in size. Like, the Z8 is slightly bigger, but not by much, which is absolutely phenomenal. And this is a full frame camera, so the image sensor is the size of 35mm film, whereas this is like, I think 45% the size of that. So the fact that this camera could be this small, yet contain the same amount of features and power that the Z9 has, and in fact be the, so to say, spiritual successor to my beloved D850, that's pretty impressive. I spent some time customizing the camera settings to my own preferences because I never liked Nikon's default settings. Battery life is kind of not great. They use the EN-EL15 batteries, which are smaller than the EN-EL18 that the Nikon Z9 has, and in fact, I have a battery pack on my Nikon D850 that accepts those larger EN-EL18 batteries, so those have better battery life. This one doesn't. It only takes the EN-EL15, and after about 500 shots, I'm down to about 62%. I started this morning with 90%, so that burned through 30% of the battery. So long days might be a bit of a concern. I'm probably gonna have to shell up for more batteries, which is so frustrating, but yeah. Other than that, though, the camera performs rather similarly to my Nikon D850 here. If you ignore the battery pack at the bottom, this camera is still smaller anyways. It has the same number of buttons in the front, so didn't really miss a whole lot there. The back has slightly different button placements. I like how the buttons are down here, so it's easier to reach. whereas on the D850, you really needed a second hand just to preview shots. So this at least has it going that I can just slide my thumb down here to look at the images I took. Whereas with the D850, I really have to put the camera down just to be able to see the shots I took. I was actually less annoyed by how Nikon moved the shutter release mode switch to this virtual switch up here. Like on the D850, the switch is actually a physical dial that you can use to change the shutter release mode. So you can change it from single, continuous low, continuous high, quiet, quiet continuous, self-timer, and a mirror up mode. But on the Z8, they got rid of that physical dial and it's all done through software. And I thought I would be more annoyed by it because the advantage this has is you can just look at it and know what mode it's in. But I actually found myself toggling the shutter release mode a lot less frequently than I thought. I mean, I was doing bird photography, so I always have it at continuous shooting. But this wasn't actually that much of a bother. At least not yet. I'm sure once I shoot different subjects, I might get irked by this, but... My other main gripe is how there's no dedicated button to change the metering mode, which is something that I used quite a bit on my D850, but for some reason, Nikon completely removed the button here, and you have to either change it through the menus or reprogram a button. I believe I reprogrammed this button. Yep, I reprogrammed function 2 to adjust the metering mode, which I'm not too sure why Nikon completely removed a dedicated button, but who knows? Maybe most people weren't using it. When all is said and done, though, this really is a spiritual successor to the D850. Both cameras are professional-grade cameras that are geared towards hobbyists and enthusiasts who are willing to spend extra on good equipment like this. It's for people who want some of the features in the flagship cameras, but also want a camera that is small and compact enough that they can slip into a bag. And because I did mean to do more traveling, and photography is a great excuse to go out and see the world, this looks like a pretty good travel companion, especially given how light and small it is. And despite all of that, it is incredibly feature-packed, so I can't wait to see what I can create with this. So yeah, that's the Nikon Z8. I mean, I've only had this camera for like a day, so I haven't really had an opinion of it yet, aside from what I just talked about. This isn't a camera review or an overview or anything. It's just me unboxing first initial impressions and just me rambling about it. Anyways, this video's gone on long enough. Bye.